This is the Hockey Podcast Network, your home for hockey talk on every team in the NHL.
Welcome to Offside by a Mile, the podcast for anything and everything Colorado Avalanche, and the official Avs podcast for the Hockey Podcast Network. Oh my God. I can't even talk now. I screamed so loud.
Did it kill you?
First of all, I screamed super loud after Kadri missed the net because I thought he scored with 17 seconds left or something?
Yeah, not even.
Wow, what a finish. I mean, this is going to be the easiest recording we've ever done just because of how insane the finish was. The whole game was not quite that good for the Avs. Obviously, we all watched it. It was crazy, but not that crazy.
It was a struggle.
Oh my God. Welcome to this week's episode of the Offside by a Mile podcast, live post-game after the first round-robin game for the Avs. Woo! One hell of a way to start the postseason.
I mean,
I am not ready for this.
Yeah, it's funny because you said about, what was it? I don't know, a little bit into the third period, and we just sat down because we were live with the Blue Notes pod for a bit, and you just sat down and you're like, I'm not ready for this intense kind of emotion I'm going through, you know? That game was super suspenseful, and that whole third period was just... It was a riot of emotions.
First of all, I'm screaming just okay, somebody on the Avs has to just do something. They've put plenty of pucks on net, all this stuff, but nobody had made that play. Landeskog had missed a bunch, Rantanen missed a bunch.
Yeah.
McKinnon had the pretty nice chances to start the third. But then all of a sudden, Ryan Graves on a broken play just goes shelf. Oh, beautiful man.
Yeah, I mean...
What a beautiful man.
And it just goes to show you his season, how far he's come. And, man, yeah, it was the perfect timing and just off a little broken play, but he stuck with it, you know. That's what I tweeted out, you know. How does the goalie going to know what you're going to do if you don't know what you're going to do?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a broken play, but he capitalizes on it, and that just started it off. And, man, I miss that rush of the Colorado Avalanche just coming down in the offensive zone and the pressure that we can put on. That was intense.
Part of the problem was we were on with the Blue Notes pod on their little watch party for the first two periods of the game. So my notes are a bit fuzzy because we were having a good time just chatting away over there. But I didn't have that knot in the pit of my stomach the whole game. I didn't even have it to start the third, but the moment they tied the game and put themselves on the board, I immediately just couldn't sit down still. I was just dying.
Yeah.
I was dying. I don't know how I'm going to deal with the first round of the playoffs, the actual first elimination round for the Avs.
Right.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. It's been so long. So watching these intense games now, it's something.
We talked about on the Blue Notes watch party. The special teams are gonna give me a heart attack because the way they started that game was awful. The power play was horrendous. The first power play was okay. The second one got a little bit done, but man, it went sideways after that. I think the third and the fourth power play they had rough.
Yeah,
and then obviously the first PK of the game where they get scored on and it's basically 1-0 St. Louis for the whole game. It seems like after that, and it's just man, this PK needs to stop. Why is Perron wide open on a PK? The guy had almost 40 goals, or did he have 40 goals? Something like that.
Yeah, he got up there, didn't he? We talked about him throughout the season, man. And yeah, it just so happens, of course, we're talking to Tom and them when he scores. But I mean, yeah, you're right. And the penalty kill got better as the night went on. But yeah, I mean, we talked about that all season too, and that's going to be a question going through. is that special teams, and apparently the refs are calling a lot of penalties right now anyway.
Yeah.
If we can call this the playoffs, and if they're going to call it like this the whole playoffs, like...
Which, again, right, this is the hard thing to wrap your head around, because I think the hockey's been pretty good. Obviously, this is a little biased, this game, because the end result has us just through the moon.
Right.
But, like, you look at the Oilers game yesterday, the Flames game later that night. Most of the games yesterday, because they were all part of the knockout round for these qualifying teams, they had a lot of intensity. They were definitely, like, they were physical, they were mean, like,
yeah,
they were not lacking in that playoff mentality in the aspect of hard-hitting playoff hockey that we're normally used to.
Mm-hmm.
What they're missing is the fine-tuned hockey, which results in less penalties. Now, yes, playoff hockey, a lot more fringe penalty stuff gets let go. That's not what we're watching. We're not watching a stricter penalty bias from the refs.
A lot of reckless plays.
A lot of reckless stick work.
Yeah.
A lot of I can't remember. It might have been the Oilers game, but there was just a really bad interference penalty where, like, guy dumps the puck in and just runs the man out that's going for the puck, and it's just like, yeah, that's interference all day, every day, even in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's mental, right?
Yeah, it's mental. It's the mental rust when it comes to fine-tuning your game in particular.
Yeah.
It seems like the refs are just calling everything, but it's just the fact that that's where you see rust, especially in NHL players, because they can play hockey at an elite level in their sleep. It's just the fine-tuned things, right? Like, you look at Belmar's penalty today, the little trip at the blue line.
Yeah, the little kind of
like,
slew footish.
That's just. I'm not saying it's his fault necessarily, like he meant to do that, but it's just one of those things, like, that probably doesn't happen 3 months into the season. A really just weird, awkward fall, and, like, just kind of catches him, and even the way his stick kind of wrapped around him at first, kind of with a half hook, and then he trips him right after. It's just like that
sloppy
that kind
behind
of
the
stuff goes
play
away.
a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff goes away.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes it hard, because you're like, man, these refs are like, is this what we're going to deal with for 3 rounds of playoffs when you're used to 1 or 2 penalties a game? Is that how you're going to end up 3 rounds into the playoffs here? I don't think so, because I think players are going to get fine-tuned.
Well, yeah, and everything tends to just be more smooth throughout play.
There is still that, like, playoff vibe, I find. Like, I've seen some guys take some heavy cross checks in front of the net and no call.
Yeah.
So it's definitely still there. But yeah, so that's our early thoughts on the game. We're going to have Tom Franklin from the Blue Notes podcast on to chat. Obviously, he's going to be a little sour. But before that, this week's Hockey Podcast Network featured podcast is Sporty with Corey and Richie, the Arizona Coyotes affiliate podcast. They are definitely happy today after the semi-beatdown they put on Nashville through 2 periods at least. And then the third period was a bit dicey.
And pulling yet another upset. It seems just to be the tradition of these first 2 days of hockey. You know, we're getting it all.
And, like, Nashville wasn't great. There was that weird bounce on the first goal, but, like, Arizona looked pretty good. Yeah. Anyway, have a listen to their little snippet, and we'll see you in a bit.
I'm Corey Crenshaw.
I'm Richie Suave Flores.
And this is Sporty with Corey and Richie Suave.
On the Hockey Podcast Network.
What did I just listen to?
Oh, this game is just bullshit now.
Oh my gosh. They actually made me feel uncomfortable. What was it? Panty what?
The game has gone to bullshit.
Panty melted?
Why do we record these during the middle of games? Oh, God. Be sure to listen to Corey and I every Monday. We are your go-to source for the Arizona Coyotes on the Hockey Podcast Network.
Welcome to Tom from the Blue Notes pod.
Hi.
Long time no talk.
I know it's been a while.
You were so much happier like an hour ago.
Well, that's because the last time we were talking, the Blues were actually winning,
and you thought it was 2-0 at the same time.
Yeah, it turns out you can't tweet and OBS at the same time.
I saw that and I was like, it must just be wishful thinking or something. And I was gonna message you, but I'm like, they're busy. They're doing something.
Someone else did, and I saw it. I was like, oh god. That just sums up everything tonight. It's like Nazem Kadri thinking he's got the game winner and starts celebrating, and then he realizes he missed the entire net.
I lost my mind.
We did too.
Yeah.
I was just so jacked, and I'm like, wait, the ref stopped pointing the net. What happened?
He missed. The rounds of emotions.
But I guess he got the last laugh.
Totally redeemed himself. Barely.
The very, very last laugh.
By 0.1 seconds, like the last possible.
It's not even 0.1. It's like 0.001.
Yeah, that's literally what it was. By the way, I don't disagree. I thought it was a goal. It looked like a goal. It's just we did not have these super, government high definition cameras.
So that's I've seen that on Avs Twitter a lot in the last 10 minutes, and it's just like, how come you can't? So like 60 frames per second is pretty standard, right?
Right.
Why is that camera the one that's got 10 frames per second?
Maybe it's just like a holdover that they had from back in the day, and it's like
it's hard to claim a holdover. It's hard to claim a holdover because this building's only 2 years old.
Well, maybe they carried it over from
they're like, we spent so much money, we're gonna save it on this.
Yeah, maybe they're still making payments on the camera.
Yeah, maybe that's
like they can't get rid of it yet.
Maybe it's like a Tesla; they got to pay for the extra frames or something.
Maybe it's like a rent-to-own camera where if they don't make the payments, they just take it back.
Maybe.
And you're out like basically twice the price of the camera.
So? To me, if I was a Blues fan, I would be asking a serious question of, why was that the penalty kill that just decided to shit the bed? Because that was the only good Avs power play of the whole game.
I think I think there was just the Avs smelled opportunity. I think the Blues kind of that's a weird thing too, because it's like I thought the third period the Blues were playing just as well as the Avs. I mean, in fact, they closed the gap on the shots. By the time the thing was over, and Wags and I were talking about, it's like, I still feel pretty encouraged. They played well this period. We might go to overtime, which is cool, I guess. And then it just the penalty kill. You're right. It was weird. It felt like it was all Avs. Like from the moment Makar initially broke in, it just. Mm-hmm. It was just so weird, and then you had all these opportunities in front of Binnington that weren't there before. I don't know if Scandella was on the ice for that last goal. I know he was on the ice for the Graves goal, which he kind of went into a turtle shell for some reason. But there's already Blues fans that are like, great, another 4 years for Scandella on that contract, and I'm just like, God, Blues fans, come on, really. I mean, it wasn't like Derek Pouliot falling on his ass and being sent to the AHL for the rest of the year. I mean, wasn't that bad. I mean,
everybody.
Never mind the fact that Graves whiffed on the pass in the first place.
Exactly. Right. He goes to block a pass / shot from Graves, and then all of a sudden.
And not only that, but Wags pointed this out in our stream. Graves was passing to a guy on his offhand. That would have been a very tricky shot had that pass actually been made.
Yeah,
with the angles on that. So it's like, the Avs actually benefited from Graves whiffing on that pass.
Man, such a good play to deke yourself out and the opposition. It's great.
Right. No one knew it. No one knew what he was doing, and he didn't know either. But it didn't matter.
The old whiff on the pass and then just fire a twisted wrister over the shoulder trick. You know that game.
That being said, for your sanity, I guess, what kind of silver lining do you get from that Blues game? Because I have one, and I'm sure you have the same one.
I thought Binnington looked strong.
Exactly.
He was very strong. Left no doubt that he's gonna be fine for this playoffs. Like Wags even asked me during the game, is like, do you think we'll ever see Jake Allen? It's like, unless Binnington gets hurt, no.
Please God, no. Please God, no. I'm not saying, and I know this is strange coming from your mouth too. Like, Jake Allen's not necessarily like instant game loss like you used to believe. No. But if you see Jordan Binnington, there's a problem that you just had, and that's not good.
Well, yeah. You see right. Allen, then Binnington's hurt.
Yeah, exactly, right? So
that's frightening. The frightening thought.
Just like us, to be honest, I really, really, really don't want to see Francouz in a game past the round robin. I don't.
That's fair.
Right? Grubauer was really good tonight.
And I thought Grubauer was really good, yeah.
Binnington was better.
I thought, and the other thing that stood out to me was the fact that, we've seen some pretty sloppy play just in this whole weekend in general. I thought the game itself was, at least compared to the other games we've seen, pretty cultured. It looked like, I wouldn't say, the Blues still have some work to do on offense. They need to, besides that Perron one, slapper, which was just gorgeous to look at.
Yeah.
They are still a little out of sync on offense. The Blues are, and that's a concern going forward. I thought defensively they tightened up after the first period, at least until that final penalty kill. But it's I think there's positives that the Blues can take out of this, and it just the other thing is with the way this tournament's going. I can't even call it a playoffs. I'm just going to call it a tournament. The way this tournament's going, this is like, seriously, like, you've heard it time and time again. It's anyone's game. So for really, sure. if whoever ends up as a 1 seed or whoever ends up as a 4 seed, does it really matter that much?
We were talking about it when the Avs tied the game, and I'm like, man, is it even a good thing to be the 1st seed?
Yeah, do you want Chicago?
Exactly. Right. Hypothetically, Chicago wins that series, and you have to play Chicago. Awesome, cool.
Yeah, great.
Who's on a super high of just like coming into the playoffs when they're not even supposed to be there.
Now,
and everyone's healthy too.
In theory, Edmonton comes back and wins the series like they're supposed to, and then you get some lesser opponent, and it's like, okay, yeah, like we talked about on yours. I would love to have Nashville or Arizona.
Yeah. And then if you finish as a 4 seed, you get either Calgary or Winnipeg. So you get Team Halyabuck, or you get a Flames team who, as you point, as you pointed out during the stream, you also get David Riddick, who was an all-star goalie, but he also has the yips.
Yeah, well, it was Cam Talbot last night, right? So it's like, no idea.
You just don't know.
Like, I would have never guessed. That Cam Talbot would have got the Flames their first win of that series.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Cam Talbot. Yeah, no.
Right? So it's like saying Jake Allen's going to win a game for the Blues.
It's bizarre world. Or Francouz is going to win a game for the Avs.
One of the funniest things I find up here in Canada for sure is that right now they're Sportsnet, basically every game they're like opening video or whatever has a quote from last year where I can't remember who it is, Mike Millen or Mark Millen or I can't remember, a guy that normally does Leafs stuff, and he goes, "This is the year that proves that literally any team has a chance if you get in." And I'm like, the hilarious part about that is that quote is from last year's playoffs.
Yeah.
This year's even worse. Like, they're not worse or whatever you want to call it, but like it's even more of a if you win you can get in, or if you get in you can win.
Well, the Blues were a 3 seed, last year in their 4-man group, and look what happened there.
And then they basically become the highest seed because everybody loses above them.
But then besides the Carolina story last year on the East, it was pretty fee-fi fo fum for Boston and the good teams there.
Yeah, just Boston though, right? Like, because Tampa Bay gets smacked around.
Yeah, Tampa got slapped around.
Washington, right? And
it just.
It was crazy.
It was crazy, but you still kind of had a feeling like, okay, this is a team to beat. This is a team to worry about. Like, Blues fans feared and respected the Bruins going into the finals because they're a damn good team.
Yep.
And it wouldn't shock me if they go back to the finals this year.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
They gotta figure some stuff out in the next 2 games, but they'll be fine. Like, I have zero. When you have a line of Marchand, Pasternak, and Bergeron.
Yeah.
That's gross.
Yeah. I guess the question with Boston is what's up with Rask?
Yeah. Which I don't know if you know this, but he broke his finger in training camp. So I don't know if that's the reason, because
Right.
from what I heard today was he wasn't feeling well. But at the same time, I know in their exhibition game they were saying that he was recovering from a broken finger, and he was going to tough it out. So maybe it's just a case of they don't want to put him in non-elimination games.
And maybe it's even bigger than that. Maybe they're like, what I was talking about with the whole randomness of this tournament, in that, say Boston starts as a number 4 seed. Do you think they care?
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
It's and not only that, but I will say that round robin in the Eastern Conference, that is a freaking a round robin of death. Because I mean, you're looking at 4 teams that would not shock me at all if they win the cup this year.
No.
All 4 of them.
The only reason Philly would shock me is because that means they've gotten solid goaltending for like 2 months, and that just doesn't happen in Philadelphia.
I know, it's weird.
Yeah, wow.
But like other than that they are a good team.
Carter Hart's the real deal.
Yeah, I think so too.
And they got that special something about them this year.
Agreed.
It's everything's clicking for them. They were my pick before this to make it to the finals. Philly.
Wow. That's
because they had a really good run leading up to the break. They've looked, and they've kind of validated my pick, because they've looked really good. Just coming out of the gate here, 4-1 over Boston. I mean, sure, it was Halak in goal, but Halak's been good for Boston.
It wasn't Halak. Definitely.
Well, it wasn't Halak?
No. I'm saying Halak played. I'm saying it wasn't he wasn't the reason.
Oh yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
At all. That they would have done the same thing to Tuukka Rask.
It just they executed so well.
I think they played really good.
Yeah, they looked really clean. Yeah.
Yeah.
That being said, that game, that was the first game I've seen, and obviously it was the first game that didn't have elimination on the line. But it wasn't really a good hockey game. Where I think the St. Louis Colorado game kind of went the same way, where it wasn't the greatest, it wasn't the heaviest hitting, it wasn't that intense. Which, of course, it's not elimination. It's you're warming up still, right? In theory,
right.
But that finish obviously changed a lot of things. That third period, I think the third period in the Philly-Boston game was good too. So it's
the Blues Avs felt like a good regular season game.
Yeah.
Which again, it fell into fine form with the 4 games we saw this regular season. Man, these teams are so well matched and so close.
Yeah. And I as a Blues fan, and I shouldn't show fear or anything like that. I don't want to see Colorado again. I would be happy if I did not see Colorado again, because
I am super down for. Well, I mean, I don't. This is the problem. As a hockey fan, St. Louis, Colorado, West Final. Yes, please. Yes,
as a casual fan.
As a Colorado fan.
That's
no,
scary.
please no.
Yeah.
Please no.
And the feelings mutual in St.
But
Louis.
again, right? It's you got to beat the best to be the best. St. Louis beat really good teams last year. You got to beat good teams, and Colorado, St. Louis, West Final. That is money in the. That would be awesome.
That may be where it ends up.
It very well could be. And I think
very well could.
The momentum coming out of a close series, it would be. It would be, instrumental in that Stanley Cup.
I have
final
a hard
for sure.
time picking any. If that's the Western Final, I have a very hard time picking an East team to beat the winner.
I guess, depending what happens over there,
right?
Yeah, because it seems as I said, even though those top 4 teams, seem to be, like a round robin of death, all 4 seem to have some sort of question mark with them going into this. Like Rask for Boston. No Samsonov for Washington.
Yeah.
Tampa, they choked last year. And Philly, unproven. So it's like all 4 got these weird tags to them. In the West, and just kind of yes, I've mentioned that this is going to be a very unpredictable playoffs and all that, but at the same time, I have a hard time seeing anyone outside the top 4 making it to the Western Conference Finals.
Barring some kind of unbelievable play by a person that we're not necessarily expecting a crazy play by, like a crazy goalie or something, I would agree with that. Yeah.
I mean, I thought maybe going into this playoffs, maybe Arizona, but after how they looked against Nashville, they still got the win over Nashville, but they did not play very tight. Going down.
You can't take the foot off the gas in a third period when you're up by 3. You just can't.
Richie Flores from Sporty with Corey said it best on Twitter today. The Coyotes played a good 35 minutes.
Yeah.
They did not play a good 60 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah, and that'll get you in trouble.
And that's kind of been their bugaboo. Is, I mean, the talent's there. They got so much talent. Dvorak has blossomed into the best scorer you don't know. Clayton Keller got a goal today, a St. Louis kid. They still have Phil Kessel. People forget about Phil Kessel. Although his play has been forgettable this year. That's been kind of why.
Yep.
He got a lot of points in the playoffs his last run, though, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, he was my pick for the Conn Smythe when the Pens
he
won
had
the
like
last
30 or more points that year. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's got experience too. So
and the Coyotes are one of the few teams that really don't have a question mark in goal. I mean, unless Kemper gets hurt again.
Was so good today.
Yeah, he
really was good. None of those goals were really his fault.
I mean, so bringing it back to the 4 in the round robin, since your Blues and our Avs have the same 2 to look forward to in Vegas and Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
What are you expecting? So I guess same kind of question. Are you surprised by, to me, what seems like the majority of St. Louis being picked as expected to finish 3rd in this round robin?
I wasn't surprised, only just because I think Colorado and Vegas have legitimate claims to being number 1. I mean, you can even say Dallas even to a degree, because Bishop turns into an absolute demon in the playoffs.
I'm scared. I'm scared of what he could turn into because of what he already has done to the Avs this year.
And not only that, he's healthy.
Yeah,
that's
right.
always the thing. That's the thing with Bishop. He's a bit. That's the reason why he stays out of the pantheon of the true elites, is because he seems to always have injury issues. Yeah. He's healthy,
dude. He wins the Vezina last year if he's on hurt.
Yeah, which is why it's so easy to look at the West and say, well, it's probably going to be one of Colorado, Vegas, or St. Louis with the number 1 seed. And you look at Dallas, and yes, Dallas has issues scoring. They still had it's the same issues they had last year, but they have Ben Bishop.
Yeah,
that's he's like the great equalizer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another team like the series last year with the Blues and Stars. In that Game 7 that went to double overtime. That took years off my life. I don't want to see the Stars. They're another team I don't really look forward to seeing in the playoffs. I guess out of the top 3 teams besides the Blues in the West, I guess if I had a preference, I would say Vegas. But that's just kind of like default.
Yeah.
Because they're not they don't have Ben Bishop, and they don't have everyone on Colorado that gives the Blues fits.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I'd probably go with that too. But at the same time, it's not really fair because Vegas has some fucking talent.
Plus, they do have Marc-Andre Fleury too.
Yeah, it's not a slide on Vegas at all.
No,
they have probably the best goalie tandem going into this playoffs.
Yeah, which to me is crazy. When they made that trade for Robin Lehner, I was shocked.
It was just as shocking to me as when he signed in Chicago.
Yeah, fair.
It was just as shocking. I did not see him going to Vegas, just like I did not see him going to Chicago.
No.
And I'm actually kind of curious where Vegas goes in this playoffs. I think they're still going to ride Fleury. I mean, of course, we're doing this before the Stars game on Monday night.
I'm pretty sure he's the starter, though.
I'm pretty sure he's still the starter. But if he breaks down, or if he, pulls a Mike Smith and, starts just letting in goal after goal, when do you put in Robin Lehner? See, these goalie paradoxes sometimes can be just as much of a pitfall as it is a benefit, because you have to figure out, okay, which one do we go to? And then do we pick? Yeah.
It's super nice to have 2 goalies during that 82 game season.
Yes.
The moment that postseason calendar flips over, good luck, coach. Whoever you are, good luck.
Example A, the St. Louis Blues, when they had Brian Elliott and Yaroslav Halak, in that one year where they both pitched below 2 goals against averages.
Yeah.
When it came time to the playoffs, which one do you go with? And how
much leash do you give him?
Exactly. Which is why I don't think Halak ever fully got comfortable in St. Louis. I don't think Elliott ever got fully comfortable because there was always that specter right behind his shoulder. That the backup goalie could take my job with one bad goal. So it's an interesting double-edged sword having two quality goaltenders like that.
And we have it a bit in Colorado with Francouz with the season he had.
Yeah.
But I'm really glad they went with Grubauer tonight. Really am. And I think Frankie's going to end up playing game 2 against who the hell are they playing next?
I think you would have Dallas next? Because the Blues have Vegas on Thursday.
So most likely, yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So it'd be Dallas, yeah. And then Blues got Dallas next Sunday.
Yeah, so I believe Frankie's going to play the Dallas game.
Yeah.
Which is fine, right? It's just I think Grubauer earns himself game 1 of the first round of the playoffs.
Well, definitely.
But at the same time, Francouz could just pitch a lights out effort on whatever day. My brain hurts. Too much hockey.
I think it's Tuesday
against
we
Dallas.
play.
Period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on the flip side of that, I mean, the Blues are kind of in the similar situation where you mean just like you're comfortable with Grubauer, we're comfortable with Binnington as our number 1, but we do have Jake Allen who had a really good year. And it kind of gets me to thinking, say the Blues already lost against the Avalanche. Say they drop a turd against Vegas and they're now down 0-2. Do you see Jake Allen for game 3 maybe against Dallas just to get him some work?
I mean, really, in the grand scheme of things, what's 3 versus 4?
Exactly.
It doesn't really change.
And
much.
like we were kind of talking about earlier, I don't know if, those teams and all the players and coaching and everything is saying the same thing that we've been saying, is that does it really matter where we finish also? But obviously, we got to play the best hockey and get into the systems and everything. But maybe that goes with goaltending too, right? It's like, what's the hurt in putting that backup goalie in to get him the reps? No one's played in 5 months pretty much here. So
the Blues played Allen in their exhibition game, right?
Yeah, they played him for a period against Chicago. He led in 2 goals.
Yeah.
He wasn't his sharp form that he was in the regular season, but again, I think you can attribute that to the break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the question, right? Is if he's played one period of NHL caliber hockey that's not a scrimmage,
right?
And all of a sudden, game 4 of round 2, or game 4 of the first round, 2 weeks after that, or maybe almost 3 weeks after that exhibition game, all of a sudden you throw him to the Wolves. If he has to go in, it's crazy to think about, right?
Yeah, and it's quite frankly a frightening thought too as well. Because I mean, because you're putting in a goalie who's not very sharp at all, which kind of leads more credence to, hey, get him some work in here during these round robin games. I mean,
exactly.
Like I said, you're not going to get that number 1. The Blues are not going to get that number 1 seed anymore. I mean, I guess there's still an outside chance of it, but
unlikely.
It's not in their favor.
No.
I think it would be, they would have to beat like a Vegas or a Dallas. Either beat Vegas or Dallas. Actually, they would have to beat them both.
Yep.
And then one of those two would also have to be 2-1.
Yep.
So that's too much math. My head hurts now. So
my whole body hurts from that game.
Really, I mean, it's just not only that, but it's just like this whole week. I mean, I want to say, this has been a fantastic weekend just because we've had so much hockey.
Yeah.
10 hockey games. Oh, I guess 9 so far.
And they space them out so that you can pretty much catch, at least 90% of every single game, which is great. But now it's like it's Sunday night, it's 9:00, and I'm kind of like, it's just like it's a happy tired, but it's just like
it's like an ultra first round of the playoffs, right? You always anticipate the first, the quarterfinals. And you're like, oh, yes, we get 4 games a day, right? At least, usually, sometimes 5 even. We're getting, 6 here
5,
every day here?
Yeah, 5 today, 5 yesterday, 6 tomorrow, and 6 pretty much.
And
6 until teams start getting eliminated.
It's crazy.
Basically.
But it's one of the reasons at the same time, too, why I love this tournament, the way it is set up right now, because it's just so different.
Yeah.
It's a better format than what we would normally have every year, in my opinion. It's actually somehow less convoluted than the regular format.
Don't say that too loud. Gary Bettman will hear you, and then we'll have that every year. And the 82 games of the regular season are basically meaningless.
Oh,
and
man.
Then you would have a 5 or 12 seed get the first overall pick every year too. So yeah, oh, God.
Chicago man, we already had this like rant. If you want to go watch the video on demand of the watch party with the Blue Notes. If you want to listen to us complain and bitch and moan about who's going to get the first overall pick, if the Oilers lose or Chicago loses even or Pittsburgh loses.
Yeah, Facebook.com/Blue Notes Pod. It's up there right now. You can take a listen.
Right above the happy face.
Yeah, right above the face of sadness.
But yeah, it's crazy, and I do agree. I definitely like this as a it's better than I expected it to be so far.
Yeah,
right.
The presentation's been mostly good, except for that cringy Predators chanting. That
right.
I will not get over that because I can't stand the Predators.
The fake fan noise is hard to begin
It is. In not every instance, but some like they showed during the game. I think the third period they showed like Avs fans, chanting, through that video thing, and it sounded okay. It sounded okay. It looked okay, but it's one of those things where it's going to be mixed at best in execution, at least with the technology that we have right now.
I feel like they should just fake it, put the people up, show their video, and then just put some pre-recorded "Go Avs Go" chants from another game like last year in the playoffs or something.
I kind of like what Jared suggests. I think it was Jared that suggested this, where like we might be in a future where we all just put on a virtual reality headset.
Well, that was Wags.
Yeah, that was Wags.
Oh, that was Wags. That was Wags that suggested that. Yeah, and just like you will still have some fans at the game, but then everyone else would be like hooked up to a microphone, and they would be able to. I mean, you would have to improve the internet infrastructure in North America drastically to accommodate this, so there's no lag or delay. So
we don't even have 4K hookups in most of the arenas here. I don't know. It's gonna take a while, but it would be so epic for sure.
I'm imagining a scenario where like the Blues are playing, let's just say the Predators. They score a goal, and you have the few hundred or maybe like a couple thousand fans cheering the goal. And then they take the puck over for the face-off, and then just as the puck drops, all of a sudden you have all the virtual reality fans cheering because they just saw the goal.
Yeah,
that would be awkward as hell. I mean,
That'd be so funny.
Even more awkward than like the announcers calling goals 15 seconds after they happen because of the delay.
Yeah,
calling the goal as another goal is happening. That's always a good one.
Yeah, that's always great. Yeah.
Right.
That's the only other thing with this that's not being executed right is if you're an announcer, you're doing this remotely, and there's going to be a bit of a lag between what you see and then what actually happens, what we see as people. I don't know if the solution to that is just maybe risk having them being in the arena.
Well,
in the future.
I think NBC and Sportsnet have their guys in the building. It was just the case of like those exhibition games they had because, like for us, Altitude only covered the exhibition game. I don't know what it was like for you guys, but I know like who else? Like Fox Southwest or whatever, whoever the Hurricanes affiliate. I saw them doing it from a booth and stuff. But it was just for one game.
Yeah. I think for Fox Sports Midwest, I don't think John Kelly or Darren Pang are actually going to Edmonton. I think they're still doing it remotely. And I know the radio broadcast is also delayed as well.
I know like Pierre was in the building. Like that crew that we watched today, they were in the building. Pierre was beside the glass there. Which
means, unfortunately, we have to listen to Pierre.
Hey, I love Pierre. Leave him alone. Leave Pierre alone.
You know what? Sportsnet can have him. Give us someone that you guys don't like up there, and we'll happily take.
Well, see, that was the problem. So Pierre used to work for TSN in Canada, and then I don't know if it was too much money or what, but then eventually he got hired by NBC, and we haven't seen him again up here. And it's really sad because Pierre was really good and creepy at World Juniors. Because I don't know how much people pay attention, but Pierre loves his like really random and odd facts about prospects. Like loves them. Like, oh, this guy used to love his spaghetti and meatballs with butter when he was growing up pregame.
Used to love,
like, what, Pierre?
Yeah.
Like, or today,
I don't know. I always thought Lafreniere was a lasagna type, but whatever.
Yeah. Like today in the Predators and Coyotes game, he called some player industrial. That was
Okay.
That was a weird one. I was like, what?
Is that like another word for blue collar? Or
Yeah, I think so. But like,
Yeah.
you could just go with that.
I tell you what. Look, if your sports, or I guess it would still be Sportsnet, you got offered Pierre Maguire for the rights to Don Cherry.
I would take that now in a heartbeat. Obviously,
And America would take that because
they love their
Don would appeal to the older America Republican crowd.
This is true.
He really would probably.
If there's one thing Don Cherry is that he's super patriotic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so this is like, I like Don Cherry. I love Don Cherry. I have
Oh,
some
of
autographed
course.
Don Cherry shit.
He's a part of our childhood.
But he was definitely teetering near the end, and it was just kind of he kind of ran his course, and like, I don't really miss him right now at all. Like, I don't miss Coach's Corner, which is kind of
it was kind of just funny at the end, right?
Yeah.
It was just a meme.
And
it was
like
a straight up meme.
The Coach's Corner drinking game was legit.
Oh yeah. That was a fan favorite over here.
Well, and I will say, as an American fan, I mean, like last year, for instance, like I couldn't stand NBC sports coverage of the playoffs at all. So I would, find a stream of
super
of
legally,
Sportsnet.
obviously, yeah.
Oh, totally, absolutely, above the board.
Yeah,
And
naturally.
and I would find a Sportsnet stream, and then like on the Saturday night games, you would have Don Cherry come on, and I was just like, oh, this is so cool! I get to see Don Cherry. I'm not the Canadian fan that got tired of his shit years ago.
Yeah. So it's weird. Like, it was definitely weird the couple weeks after the fact of the little falling out of Don Cherry, but I don't miss him now.
Yeah, he's like you said. I think he went past his expiration date.
Yeah, I think so too.
It just it happens to everyone.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I will agree with you on the NBC coverage. Not a fan.
I've never been a fan.
Yeah.
No.
I'm not really a big fan of Sportsnet's coverage either. I'm a TSN guy all the way, which
The only reason I'm watching them this year is just simply because it's hockey, and I like seriously, you can have like Al Jazeera broadcast NHL, and I would probably watch it.
Yeah.
yeah, like Hockey Night in Canada, they always do like a Punjabi version.
All right.
But this was before, obviously, right now. But like their Hockey Night in Canada Saturday night broadcast, there was always a Hockey Night in Canada in Punjabi. I would take that right now.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Inject into my veins.
Yeah. But no, it is what it is. I can't. Anyway, back to the game tonight. Like, I can't believe that's how it finished, to be honest.
Yeah, that was wild.
I was prepped for overtime.
One thing that I told Wags is that, well, I mean, if the NHL has not gotten enough press out of this weekend of hockey, they will tomorrow on all the sports talk shows when they talk about the 0.1 second goal.
Yep.
Like I don't know of a later goal that's been scored in that. But
you know what?
You see a late goals, but
Even though the Blues were on the wrong end of that, and I'm not saying it was a goal. Some Blues fans were saying it wasn't. Let them talk. But it's good that we actually had some drama.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's like that's like the other thing that's been kind of missing a little bit from this opening series is that feeling of drama.
Right.
like
typical playoff drama.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you need that.
I mean, it's been like a love affair this weekend, watching hockey again, but it just was missing that extra little something. And with that goal, it kind of gives us a little something to get razzed up about.
Fair.
Yeah.
I saw one tweet that made me really happy, and it was somebody that's like, but wait, was Landeskog onside? And I was like, oh, that is a good tweet.
It's like, don't even.
Yeah. Imagine if he was like 1 centimeter offside.
Yeah, just imagine the
classic.
Blues would have challenged for something there, and you're like, oh, God.
That's the real problem in hockey is, players going 1 centimeter over the line.
Clearly.
I will never not bitch about that.
I yell at the screen for offsides all the time.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
Did they vote for that?
Yeah.
I swear that they're changing that next year, right?
What?
The vertical line now instead of...
Oh, yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think
Right?
they're removing they're turning it into a plane of the blue line or something.
Right.
So you don't have to. So your foot doesn't have to be touching the white. It just has to be hovering over the white.
And then you go across the sea to Europe in soccer where they have this VAR system, that can like digitally tell right away if a ball went over the line or not.
Yeah.
It's like, why doesn't hockey have VAR for offsides?
I've asked that about high sticks. like high sticked pucks.
Yeah.
Like, I understand tennis is a generally pretty open court, but like the fact that you can see 100-mile-an-hour tennis ball hit a line with certainty where that ball hit the line.
Yep.
Right.
Yet hockey, we can't figure out if a puck was touched 4 feet high or not.
Right.
Why didn't hockey have that? Why don't we have that for the goal tonight?
Yep.
With the Kadri
And
goal.
exactly, that just goes back to what we were saying. Like, where are the frames on this camera?
I mean, like some critics might say, oh, well, you might have to put like a tracker or something inside the puck. Well, it's like in the 90s, Fox was putting, things in pucks so they could have the puck glow on TV.
Yep.
Right.
I mean, whoopee.
It's
We've
not
done
that
it
bad.
before.
This would be
And
the perfect time to do it too, because the pucks aren't going to fans; they're just going to get collected again.
That's true. So you're not going to walk away with, like thousands of dollars in equipment.
Good call.
You
Yeah.
just take home a puck to put on your shelf.
Yeah,
I've actually seen, by the way, some people, like that got pucks that were like the glowing puck, and like they've sold their pucks on eBay for like hundreds of dollars.
Wow.
And it's like, yeah, and it's like they even like cut it open to like show you like the innards of it, and it's just like, it's like half puck and half technology.
Interesting.
So it's just like I was like, what was it like to shoot that thing?
yeah.
You know?
I don't know. But anyway, thanks a lot for joining us tonight, Tom.
Yeah, no problem. Somehow we transitioned from playoff hockey to glowing pucks,
Yeah.
so I'm glad to evolve the conversation.
I did say
Love
that
it.
we would really be happy to have you on if the Blues lost, so it turned out really great.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, you can see by my smiley face here.
Your friend is pretty sad back there.
He's not in a good mood right now. I don't think he's quite Vancouver citizen burning a car mad, but he's not happy.
He's getting close.
He's working up to him. He might burn a couch later.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Start his garbage can on fire or something.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, it could be, but then again, at the same time, it's like we were talking about. It's like the tension isn't there for that. No, not
If that was a series ender, that'd be different.
Yeah, or if this was like a hand pass, like the Sharks tried to pull with the Blues last year.
Yeah,
that's a different
That was
story.
an interesting one.
But
anyway, thanks a ton for joining us, and like you said, it's a blast to have hockey back, and it's a blast to be talking about it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for coming on our stream earlier too as well. And if you want to check that out, if you want to see 2 periods worth of Tyler and Jared, go to facebook.com/BlueNotesPod, and we have a video on demand there for you. And
Heck yeah.
you can check us out on Twitter at BlueNotesPod as well. We make it pretty easy. So
Awesome, man.
Awesome. As always, Tom, it was a blast.
all right. Thanks so much, guys.
See ya.
See you later.
See ya.
Oh man, what a good day to be an Avs fan.
Yeah, that was just great, man.
What a
You
day
know?
to be an Avs fan.
I'm still like trying to recover from that. And like, yeah, just going from Kadri missing that shot,
Dude.
and then Landeskog hits the post there.
Yeah, hits the post right before.
And I thought it's over when he hits the post. I'm like,
Well, yeah, so, like-
and that's the one. And I'm thinking the whole game, like Landeskog's been owed a goal in this game.
we didn't even talk about it either. We didn't even talk about the fact that replay that they showed for over the overhead view with the clock. You see it and you're like, you're waiting for the post to get hit by Landeskog. And I'm like watching the clock tick down, and it's like under 2 seconds. I'm like, oh, this is clearly not a goal. This is clearly not a goal. And then he hits it with like, I don't know, 1.7 or 1.4. I can't even remember anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, there's no way Kadri has time to put that in.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh my God, he did. And I was going to say, while you were saying that to Tom there, I forgot. The last goal, like the closest end of the game goal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing, is like, normally it's not for the win either when they get scored like that.
Right.
Normally it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, whatever, they just scored. It's like they were already up 1, they just went up 2. Who cares? Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The one that I can remember that stands out is that LA Kings one. Remember when they tied the game? It was like 1.1 seconds left. They had to draw.
Oh yes.
But even then, I
Yeah.
think that puck went over the line at 0.3.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just like that one.
That was insane.
The
I
puck
remember
got
that.
dropped at 1.1 seconds left,
Yeah.
and they put it in the net faster than Kadri got that in.
Yeah. Yeah, which is crazy to
Just
think.
crazy. That's the last. That's the one that's the only one that I can remember. It's actually being like a really intense goal.
Yeah.
Right, and it's just man.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man.
Wow.
McKinnon was flying tonight. Hey,
McKinnon was good.
he looks good.
He
already looked good in the exhibition.
Well,
too.
is it like he just needed to find the finishing touch, but
yeah, and I feel like too. I won't doubt if the next game. So is it Dallas?
yeah,
Dallas on
the
Tuesday.
5th.
So it's Wednesday.
Yeah,
Okay, so Dallas on Wednesday. Damn, that's unfortunate in a way if that's our first game after this game.
Yeah,
because I feel like that's a lot of momentum, and I feel like at the end of that game, we in that whole third period, like especially once Graves got that goal.
once Graves
Then
lit
it
the fire under
it
their
was
ass.
it was the pour of offense just coming down, right? Like that we had seen that overtakes, once we get into that rhythm, we're basically overtaking any defense. It doesn't matter who you are. Like we might get another goal on you for sure.
Yeah.
And we're going to be in your end all night.
Again, it was super nice to see the power play actually do something with that game winner.
And that's late power plays have always been.
But yeah, like Tom said, it was like they smelled blood, and it's
Yeah.
true because they didn't even get the puck out of the zone.
Yeah.
Once the Avs got back in the zone, like that keep in by Makar with like I don't know 30 seconds to go or
Right,
something
exactly.
was really nice.
And man,
just so many chances.
like we were talking about earlier on the Blue Notes pod when we were on Facebook Live there during the game, and just like the clutch of McKinnon and Makar, like it's right there again.
Yeah.
It's that whole sequence that leads up to that too. And it's the power play. Like Makar is like such a quarterback on that power play. I love that they do the Kadri still with that line too.
Same.
Right?
Well,
Like,
he's
that
so
works
good
out
in the
so
middle
well.
there.
Yeah.
And he's a pain in the ass, so it's the perfect place to put him for a power play.
Right,
'cause
stir some shit up. And,
yeah, he's gonna piss people off. They're gonna piss him off. It's a win-win for him.
and he could have, scored one other goal there.
He could have made this a lot easier and not a crazy ass review to end the game.
Oh my god.
He was doing it for the drama, like Tom said. He needed
And it
that
just
story.
honestly, it feels like because we didn't see Kadri for so long. Like, oh yeah, right.
He's here.
Like
too.
honestly, like it just like seeing the game tonight, because the more the game went on too, he got better and better too.
Well, right. Like, how many times do you see Kadri in that like new guy mix?
Right.
You don't like because he came in the summer. He wasn't. I don't know. It's to me. I
He's
don't
like-
normally think of him when I think of like Belmar and stuff and Mestikov, and
Yeah.
even though he was an addition in the summer and like he definitely deserves to be in there. And like I know we had that poll months ago, but then he was part of it. But it's just like he seems like a Avs like veteran almost,
Yeah.
and it's been one season.
Yeah. Yeah, man. He's gonna probably be key in these playoffs too, man.
Yep.
And yeah, he looked good. I mean, he looked better as the game went on. I think that goes for most Avs, obviously. But
Again,
yeah.
though, Grubauer was a friggin' stud.
Yeah, I mean, he looked so dialed and very like on his tracking.
Yeah.
It seems so dead on. Like there's a couple plays that were dead, kind of, or like not dead plays, but like disrupted plays, kind of, right?
I think
Those random plays that can like produce those odd goals where you sneak one in like far post.
I can't remember
or
when it was.
something.
Was it maybe like mid third period where there was that scramble in front and he ended up on his back and
Right.
tucked that
Yeah.
one under his elbow?
Coming back with his glove
Yeah.
and everything. Yeah.
And even then, he didn't look like he was freaking out.
Yeah. I mean, he was getting into the right positions for sure.
Yeah.
And he looked good.
But yeah, I think that's enough of us being little fanboys of the team here, and let's move on to Wednesday's game against the Stars, and then when do they play the Knights? Probably the 7th, I would guess.
I would guess. Let's see. So 5th is
Oh, no, not
Stars.
7th. Not the 8th either. Jesus. Oh,
So it is
Sunday.
It's 3 days in between.
Yeah. So they have Wednesday and Sunday. Or wait, no.
Wow.
No, it's Wednesday and Monday. I think. I don't even know.
Who even knows at this point?
Oh, no, there it is. Wow, I just scrolled right by it. Okay, and it's Saturday. Wednesday and
Okay.
Saturday.
I was
Okay,
going to be like, holy. Well, I guess that's still Thursday, Friday off. Man, it's going to be hard to build momentum for those
it is,
playing teams.
but the flip side of that coin, it's time to work on the PK and the power play.
Yeah.
They actually get real practice time. So it's good for the specialty teams. It's good for the team practice period.
Mm-hmm.
Practice time. Again, you look at these teams in the best of fives. When do you think they're really going to practice? Because they've got 5 games in, 9 days? I think it is. Because they're playing every other day and they have one back-to-back if it goes 5.
Right.
Every series has a back-to-back if it goes 5. So, they don't really have time to practice. I'd obviously much rather be in the Av spot with practice time and obviously less pressure to not be eliminated and stuff like that. But
Yeah, and I mean, rest before, because like we said earlier, this isn't really even the playoffs as much as they want to say it is, and everything. But
they wanted to get the first round here done in 10 days. Or the qualifying round, they want it done in 10 days. And then 14 days for the rest of the rounds, and then 13 days for the final.
Right.
That's obviously, you look at 7-game series, that's every other day. Which is pretty standard, but you're not going to get a 2-day break because there's going to be no arena availability issues.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to happen, right? So it's just get your rest while you can, get ready to go and practice, and should be fine.
Polish it up. I mean, and that's, the good thing about that game. Obviously, we got that crazy late winner, which is insane. But the team really started to click, I think. And it's just good to see that, obviously, there's a lot of things to polish up still, but once we get to that point of that real click where we've seen throughout the, season when we go on these tears of just dominating teams, that's what it looks like. And we saw that tonight, so that's good. I mean, and Jost is playing. Jost didn't look too bad, right?
I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, Jost came in for Nieto.
So they had the projected lines.
And hopefully Donskoy's okay, too. I don't know if he looked fine, and he did play in the third period. He just didn't play a lot.
Projected lines had Tyson Jost out of the lineup, and then 5 minutes into the game, we're like, wait a second, Tyson Jost is in the lineup.
Yeah.
Okay.
Burakovsky, getting hit with that follow through.
Yeah, the follow through on that was a weird play.
Man, he got hit him just above the teeth. He was bleeding, so hopefully he's okay. It didn't look like he was spitting out any chiclets or anything. So
we'll find out.
It's woof.
Ugh.
But yeah, man, pretty solid first actual game.
Yep. Defensively, they didn't look too bad. The Blues didn't have a ton of really good chances.
Yeah.
Grubauer was tall when they got what they got, but it wasn't 2-on-1 central and stuff like that. I don't even know if they had a single 2-on-1.
Right, there wasn't too many
Maybe
huge breakdowns or it was maybe early on.
Yeah.
I think in the first period there was a few giveaways, but getting a little distracted with some conversations with the Blue Notes boys, but I mean, yeah. Not too bad at all. I mean, Landeskog looked good too. I was just thinking that at the end, when he hit the post, that's why I was like, oh, this is over now, obviously. But he just couldn't buy a goal, man. And I thought he was in a position to score frequently that game too. So, I mean, the boys, they look good. Nemestikov had that earlier chance too in the second period. Binnington looked good too.
Binnington was good. But anyway, thanks for all of you tuning in live on Twitter. This may probably become a normal thing. Probably not the post games necessarily, but live on Sundays for now.
Yeah.
But yeah, for those listening Monday, it was a good Sunday for the Avs, that's for sure, and a good weekend of hockey. And
hockey's back. Look at all that hockey. That was insane.
We will talk to you next weekend. Adios.
Adios.
The biggest thing you can do to support us is by going to iTunes or Apple Podcasts and giving us a 5-star rating. Also, if you're looking to donate to the network, visit the Hockey Podcast Network's Patreon page. All donations go straight to the podcast host. Thanks, and see you next episode.
You're listening to the Hockey Podcast Network on Twitter at HockeyPodNet. New episodes every Monday and Thursday. Download at thehockeypodcastnetwork.com or wherever you get your podcasts from.